Of all the moments in history, of all the experiences we share, of all the seconds that tick by, there are few moments that change history, and only a very few of us become actors on the stage of history at those moments. The rest of us watch in awe from a distance. Examples of this are the men and women in the control room at NASA in July 1969 who, along with Neil Armstrong, were actors on the stage of history, teaming up to put the first man on the moon. Millions of others around the world watched from a distance. Or Stanley Levinson, Clarence Jones, Martin Luther King Jr., they all worked together to actually write the famous speech, "I Have a Dream." Each of these men would never be the same. They'd stepped onto the stage of history. Millions of us would watch that same speech many times throughout our lives, but we were not on the stage. What about William Wilberforce and many others in the British Parliament who accepted an invitation to be on the stage of history, working to end the slave trade in Britain nearly 200 years ago? Their lives would never be the same. Many of us know Wilberforce because he chose to become an actor on the stage of history, but we read about him from the sidelines. Roger Bannister and his coach, Franz Stampfel, believed the 4-minute mile could be broken. And Bannister actually crossed the finish line in 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. Their lives were forever changed. But most of us have simply heard the stories of his famous run from afar. We read of men like Moses being used as a tool in the hands of God to part the Red Sea and save his people. We marvel at the moment when Paul and Silas, by the direction of the Holy Spirit and under his power, causes a lame man to walk. All of these people were actors on the stage of history. What's the difference between them and us? It's simple. They accepted the invitation. Will you? We've been invited tonight by God to be actors on the stage of history, not to watch from a distance. We've been invited to the stage to proclaim the today power of God and make his name famous in our generation. And through it all, we're transformed in the process. We have been brought together for such a time as this, to change the world for maybe one last time. When was the last time you were invited to be on the stage of history, to transform the world? Here's your invitation.